Today, we're diving into some really cool research that created a brand new tool, something called the MEQUAL Scale. It's designed to cut through all the marketing fluff and answer a really important question: what actually makes an MBA program good? So let's just start with the biggest question out there, the one that keeps people up at night. Is an MBA actually worth it? All that time, all that money? For years, people have been kind of skeptical about how much value you really get. To get a sense of why this is such a tough question, let's just look at one number: 4,000. That's about how many business schools there are in a country like India. It's just a sea of options. And when you're faced with that many choices, how in the world are you supposed to tell the good ones from the, well, not so good ones? Now hold on, because here's a number that's even more eye-opening. 20%. So for grads who aren't at one of the absolute top schools, that's their on-campus placement rate. It means for a huge chunk of students, the main promise, that great job waiting for you, it just doesn't happen. And that gap between the promise and the reality is exactly what this research wanted to tackle. And this whole situation creates what the study calls the MBA quality puzzle. For students, it's a puzzle of how to pick the right school, and for the schools themselves, it's a puzzle of how to stand out and actually improve. A really big piece of this puzzle is how we've started to think about education. The study points out that education is becoming an industry, and that means the student is kind of like a customer. And hey, if you're the customer, you have a right to know about the quality of the service you're paying a ton of money for, right? So that leads to the big challenge. How do you measure something as fuzzy and complex as the quality of an education? It's not easy. The researchers knew they couldn't just rely on opinions. They needed a real, scientifically proven yardstick. Now, there were other tools out there, but they were super generic, kind of like trying to use a hammer for every single job in your house. It works for some things, but it's clumsy. Management education is a very specific, complex thing. They realized they needed a specialized surgical tool. And that's exactly what the MEQUAL scale is designed to be. And they didn't just guess. They built this thing with some serious scientific rigor. They started with this huge list of over 100 different things that could affect quality. Then they used some pretty powerful statistical analysis to whittle that list down to the 25 most important items. And then they tested it like crazy to make sure it was accurate and reliable. So after all that hard work, what did they find? They discovered that MBA quality isn't just one thing. It actually stands on 6 fundamental pillars. And if you understand these pillars, you can really start to solve that quality puzzle. Let's walk through them one by one. First up, and this is the big one, academic aspects. This is the absolute heart of the program. Is the curriculum modern? Is the teaching actually good? Is there solid support to help you learn? You know, the basics. Second, you have professional assurance. This is all about whether the school is reliable and trustworthy. Do they stick to their schedules? Are their rules and processes clear and fair? This stuff builds confidence. Next up is behavioral responses and supports. This is the human side of things. Do you feel like the staff and faculty are empathetic? Do they actually listen to your concerns? Do they treat you with respect? The fourth pillar is industry-institute interaction, and this is so important. It's the bridge between the classroom and the real world. Are you getting to hear from people in the industry? Are there hands-on workshops and visits to actual companies? Pillar number 5 covers the non-academic aspects. Because an MBA isn't just about what you learn from a textbook. This is about your overall development. Things like sports, cultural events, and training in soft skills. And finally, the 6th pillar is physical support. This is the literal foundation. The quality of the classrooms, the library, the labs, all the facilities that you're using every day. Okay, so those are the 6 pillars. But here's the million-dollar question. Are they all equally important? The answer is a huge no. And this chart, this shows you the most powerful finding in the whole study. Academic aspects, the core teaching and classes, that accounts for almost 39% of how a student perceives quality. It's not just one factor among many, it is by far the most important one. And this is more than just an interesting finding for a research paper. The MEQUAL scale is a really practical tool that has real-world uses for pretty much everyone involved in business education. I mean, just think about it. If you're a student thinking about where to go, you can now ask much smarter, more targeted questions instead of just looking at brochures. If you're running a school, you can use this to pinpoint exactly where you need to improve. Policymakers can create better standards. Even employers can get a clearer idea of what a grad from a certain program is really bringing to the table. So let's bring it all home. When you cut through all the marketing, all the fancy campus photos, this research gives us a really clear roadmap to what actually makes a great business education. And that leaves us with one last really empowering question. Now that you have this tool, this framework of the 6 pillars, and you know that academic quality is the thing that matters most, what would you ask a business school? This gives you the power to look right past the rankings and find the real answer for yourself. Thanks for joining us.